give it a second here to think about things.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but for whatever reason, normally I have a control panel and stuff like that for YouTube, but it's not.
That's that dockable window that I think is closed, the control panel. So I think you can see that back in views. Let me get into OBS and see if I can see where that is.
Well, the bigger question is, are we live? Are you seeing
I
anything
am not
on?
seeing us live. It's still showing up as upcoming. When I click on
Most
it,
Planet
oh yes,
Fitness
we are
clubs are open
live.
24 hours, so you can work out whenever.
Great. Hold
We're
on.
coming in early, staying late. Whatever works for you.
Save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down.
That sounds better.
Is
Okay.
it doing something?
It is doing something. It's showing me the ad, which is great. And this is
Okay.
the second ad, and then I think that we are live. Yeah,
Okay.
and Grim Partridge is there.
It says we're
Greetings.
live.
You are
Okay. Yeah,
fantastic.
so maybe something's going. Yeah, but for whatever, I mean, so I'll just show you. I mean, I think you might have seen. This is what I'm seeing on my YouTube. So normally here, where this gray bar is, that's where it would have the upcoming live stream. I click on that, and then it would open up all kinds of stuff that would show me how many viewers we have and the comments and everything else. So I have no idea why it's misbehaving today. Thank you, viewers, for being patient while we tried to deal with this very snarky little YouTubey thing. So, all right, we'll get back to the game somewhere here. I've got that up.
I'm going to syncify with you, and there we go. All right, real good. Well, it's been a technology morning, hasn't it?
Hit
I was having
F5 to refresh the page. Okay, we'll give that a try. Yes, technology. So F5.
Oh, I thought that was technology FU. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
All right, I hit the F5 and it didn't do it. There's got to be
Well,
something else. But at least it's going out to the wider universe, although I'll have to figure this out. We'll have to mess around with it because I've got other things scheduled, and so we can't have a big mess. But this happens from time to time. So
well, you're up here, you're running, and I'm excited about that, and I think that it is it's time to draw an activation.
I think you are correct. Why don't you go ahead and do that, since I don't want to spoil things. Oh, it's blue. All right. So it's the good guys who get to go now.
I'm sorry, this thing is still broken.
Oh, it was a technological error. The blue guys were not supposed to get it. All right, so let's see who's moved so far. We've moved the first division a couple of times. They've gotten themselves kicked in the teeth. So, of course, we're going to kick them in the teeth again, because that's what you do when you're the French.
Are you tired of them? You just want to get rid of them?
No. Now I'm going to try something slightly different. Something like what we didn't do last time, which is where I'm just going to have this single unit launch a single attack on that single hex there. So the other ones, by me trying to have all three join in, unleashed, so much defensive fire that the negative modifier became nearly impossible to overcome.
Yeah, and this is going to get that's a really good call out, because when you attack from just one hex, you only, and especially in that angle where you're hitting a salient, that is going to allow only one defensive fire. It's not going to be pretty, but it's just one.
Well, I'm hoping that, pretty or not, that is always a relative position. But what I am going to do is I'm going to move those guns back up on the hill. So, and they can turn around, I guess, and face the music. Oh, I keep forgetting. So, all right. Well, or actually, they could be going right there.
Are you worried about the guard defecting or something?
No.
There you go.
Yeah, because they move. They've got the facing out through 4 sides, as I recall. Correct?
The artillery?
Yeah,
No, I think it's just the two frontal arc. I think that,
I thought that
but
was just for firing.
oh, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I guess
Yeah,
you're right. Sorry,
yeah.
had to think.
No, so my intention, if you haven't figured it out, is I'm going to try to do this attack here, and no matter what the result is, I'm going to try to change their orders next turn so I can get them the hell out of there. So there's an order called, I don't know, is it withdraw or something like that, where you can move it 1.5 times your normal speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be there. So the idea is get them out and then
Retire.
yeah,
It's retire. Yeah.
retire. Yeah, and then hope that they can lick their wounds.
You got other divisions, so yeah.
I do have other divisions, but I've never used some of those other orders.
Yeah, it's a good chance to use them all, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, so that's you, Danny. Yeah, I did get your message, and I already do have La Bataille de Lutzen from Clash of Arms. I've got the original one that came out. I guess it would have been in the early 2000s. But yeah, Ed Wimble is doing a reprint, a limited reprint of Lutzen for anybody who does not have a copy. So yeah, I'll have to figure out the what's going on here technically. But thanks for at least the suggestion, Danny. All right, so that was my movement. So now I will launch this attack and see how lucky we can get. Because as you said, you only get one shot at me, and if you roll really low, I might get away without losing too much.
This is activation, so I'm going to clear the smoke.
Yes, yeah, that would be fine, and I'll clear the move markers. Cool. So you'll have -1 for the snow, +1 for defensive fire, and +1 for heavy. So just have a +1 altogether, and you are ×4. So you're on the 19 plus chart with a +1. So I'm hoping you roll really low.
Well, let's give it a shot. Oh, that's
That
not really
was not low. We were hoping for lower than that. Try it again. Try again. So that is looks like three hits.
Well, that's better. How about we go with the 6?
A 6. Okay. I like that. I'll handle that. So that becomes a 7. So that's 2 hits. Okay. So the top unit is almost but not quite dead.
I'm not dead yet. We'll be soon.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let's give it a try.
All right.
Okay, so now we can calculate. And thanks for humoring me with that, because I really just wanted to kind of see how the attack would go just attacking from 1 hex as opposed to all 3 hexes like we just did.
I think that's brilliant, and I keep going back in my gaming to Mark Ruggiero all the time. You know, it's about playing. It's a social experience. Just play.
Well, and for this, it's more like a learning thing. So our odds are 1-to-1. I've got 8. You've got 8. So there's no pluses or minuses there. You're a Russian, so that's a +1. You're under defend order, so that's another +2. So you're at +3 altogether. I don't think no, that's only infantry being attacked. All right, then your artillery alone in a hex. Yep. So that's going to be -5. So now we're down to a -2. Now we go down to me. I attacked, and I took 2 hits, right? So
Right.
that's going to be a +2. So now we're at 0. So the -2 +2, we're at 0.
Right.
And then I'm charging uphill, so that's +2. But I have a leader present who's worth 2. So we're just at a straight up 0 at this point.
So,
So
that's a great example of why you need that little slidey stick that they include in the box to count. Up 2, down 1, up 2, 2,
yeah, the
1.
only problem with that slidey stick is that it's most of the
Tiny.
time it's very tiny because they go out to like a slidey stick of 30 or something. And so most
I
of the
know.
time,
Right.
right, and so most of it would have been better if they just had it 1 through 10 or something, because then you could see it. Otherwise, it's just so tiny, the little increments on it. It's
Yeah.
it's too hard to follow sometimes.
You know what? It could be plus or minus 6 because at that point it's an automatic win or an automatic lose in assault,
Yeah, yeah,
right? 'Cause if you roll a 12 and you have a -6, you're still in the 7 or less.
yeah. So, okay, so then it just comes down to the die roll, so let's see what we get. Ah! An 11. Let's try that again, this time with feeling. An 8. Oh, I don't like that either. Let's try this again.
Go for a luck roll.
Another one. Oh my gosh. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Finally,
Okay.
finally we have something. So,
All right. Now, I've got a problem. I've got to do, first of all, let me take my 1 point off from each of those guys. So I can select them both and hit SP loss, and they should both be recorded. Yes, they are. Good. Now, I need to roll a square check, or excuse me, not a square check, a
limber.
limber, urgent limber.
Yeah, so I think with those guns, it's got to be a 6.
Yep. Now, if they had failed a stand check, then they would, or excuse me, during retreat, they would get pushed back 1 if it was something else trying to displace them. They get 1 prolong, and then after that they have to roll. So, but this is a fresh attack on them. So
Right.
I'm gonna roll the 1. So guess what?
Well, do you roll for each unit?
It doesn't say so in the rules. I think you roll per hex, but let's roll again because we're checking that out. I still lost. It's almost
Okay.
impossible to get your stuff limbered.
Yeah,
So
which is something that bothers me slightly with that, but oh well.
Yeah. This should go to the graveyard, but we started this scenario on an earlier version of the with an earlier version of the setups.
Right.
So they pulled out all the counters with all of the values for the version 1.0 of the module. We have to update that module to 1.1. So there's your space. You got it.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess that would be the way to do it as opposed to the way that I did do it. So, now, do I have to advance into the hex is the question.
I think you do not have to. I think you can. And I think that was a point of contention with people.
Yeah.
Let me just check here. New. Now, I've mentioned this before. I'm using Notebook LM.
Yes. And I am using Flip the Page LME. LAME. Yes.
the Mark version 1.0.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see here, results.
But I just want to put in a plug for Notebook LM. So it's good. Survives. The defender must check to hold the hex. The check fails. The defender retreats. The assaulting charge units may enter the hex. It says may. So
okay.
Good.
Yeah. So I think I would opt not to do that, particularly since my intention is to try to get guys out of there. The other question I have is, do they have any rule about changing the stacking order of units? I mean, the reason I ask is, like these units here and here, right? If my intention is to have them bug out next turn, I'd like to try to put the fresher battalion on top, so that way when these guys leave the hex and they take opportunity fire, the top unit doesn't get blown to pieces, basically destroyed and removed from the game. So do they
Right.
have anything about like changing stacking order?
Yes, the stacking order of units in hex can only be changed at the beginning of the activation of the division, and that is in the regular manual in section 18.
Okay.
Stack.
All right. So then that would be the right thing to have done at the beginning. And since they didn't move or do anything else exciting, but
Right.
that's good to know. Okay. So
Yep.
now,
And the reason that's important, Mark, for the viewing audience is that if you lose a unit, if you get another point, you lose a fatigue point as well.
yeah,
So it's important when you have damaged units to try and preserve them. They can't combine, but at least they don't cost you.
right, right. And I'm Eric today. I just play Mark on television. So
I'm playing like 14 Marks. My wife is named Marcella. I call her Mark. So
right.
you're just an honorable. It's like Monty Python and the University of Wallamalu. You're all Bruce.
There you go. Bruce.
Okay, sorry about that.
And Sheila. That's a
And
Sheila. Yes. Okay. Well, cool. So that worked there. Now the question is, do then these guys make a stand check?
You bet they do, because they
Okay.
are adjacent to a unit that has been eliminated.
Okay.
So we got to do that. So let me get my chart back up here. And
So they're Russian, so that's a +1 on the roll. A friendly unit was eliminated next to them, so -2. They are not in square. They're not in obstructed terrain. They don't have a leader. There's no cavalry nearby. So it just looks like it's a -1 on the roll. And so they have to roll. A unit has to check when it's okay. So they have to roll, and it is a
7.
You're trying to roll. You're
Trying to
trying to
roll
roll
low.
less than 6. So a 5 or less sends them retreating.
No.
Right? It says, well, I'm looking at the chart. When the modified die roll is smaller than 6, the lead unit loses 1 SP and the stack retreats. So it looks like
Right.
you'd have. So if you rolled a 6 with the -1, then they would bug out.
Yeah.
So go ahead and pick a stack and roll and see what
Yes,
happens.
Gonna go with this one here.
Okay.
And roll.
So they're happy.
Yep. And then this guy. They're happy.
They're happy. Yeah. So the one thing I noticed between the earlier rules and these rules is that the stand check got easier to pass. I could understand why you initially thought that you had to get a 7 or better, because it was like you had to roll a lot higher to pass your stand check, and we're just like, well, this is ridiculous, because
Yeah.
I remember when I first played the game when it came out of the box, you hit one thing and like everybody's running away next to it.
Right.
And you're like, this is nuts, kind of a thing. And so that's how I took out the entire Grand Battery. And because back then, if this one failed, and then these guys would have to check, and then these guys would have, and it just went down the whole line.
Yeah.
So that you end up having, this entire line of stuff repulsed because one unit way down here got hit. So I'm glad that they made those adjustments. Okay.
It's now limited. I mean, if you think of it like a graph, it's kind of logarithmic. As further you go out, it's less effect. So the adjacent ones have an effect, and the adjacent of the adjacent don't have any.
Yes.
With a
Yes.
stand check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. They fixed that. That was one of the first questions I sent Uwe. I'm like, is this supposed to be happening? And his comment was, well, don't put them all in line next to each other. I'm like, I know, but is this really what was happening historically? One unit way down, half a mile away, broke and ran, and everybody else broke and ran. I've read about the Battle of Eylau. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they've made some of these adjustments. Okay, cool. So at this stage in the game, those guys are done, and I think I've only got, well, I've got at least another cube or two in there for what little it's worth.
And
But
again, there's no defensive fire for the rest of me because you only defensive fire against units that are assaulting.
yes, right. And
Which is
so
yes.
that is, yeah. So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so in that particular case that we just did, and yes, we rolled the dice multiple times, people out there. We were intentionally cheating, if you want to look at it that way. But we wanted to kind of see what would happen. That would be the way to do it, where because and it only worked because it was the artillery all by itself in the hex. If you had an infantry unit with it, then there wouldn't have been the -5, and then you would have had, a big plus for it. So these units here that were stacked with the infantry, they would have been. I mean, I guess it might have been better to attack here, right? Because then I wouldn't have had the uphill if I got somebody there, and just kind of pinch this unit.
Yep, but then you would have been facing an infantry and an artillery in the same hex, so there wouldn't have been the -5. No, I didn't set these up really wonderfully, leaving a bunch of artillery
Well, you
unencumbered.
can't. I mean, the way it starts,
The setup rules, yeah.
yeah. But even then, the the fire result that you got, if we went with the first one, would have seen me lose 4 increments, right? So that would have greased a unit, and there's a little star there, which means that
Leader.
I would have had to make a morale check, and there would have been a leader thing. And so given all of those factors, so then I would have had to make a stand check. The top unit just got eliminated, so there's a -2 on my roll. So and so yeah, so then it would have been, and then I don't know when you roll or how. Is the leader automatically killed when you get the star, or do you have to roll? Is it a
No,
50-50
you have to
chance?
roll. You have to roll. It's I don't even
Okay.
think it's 50. I can check that, but you make a check, and it's not listed on the table. It's in the rules. So
Okay. Yeah, that would have been nice if they had that on the table. I'm surprised they don't have it on the table. But maybe.
I do, but that's what we got. Let's see. So let me just check the chat and go leader loss here. Okay, casualty roll. Oh, it is 50-50. On a 1 to 3, there's no effect, and on a 4 to 6, the leader becomes a casualty. If the French player rolls for Napoleon, a 1 through 5 has no effect. Only a 6 results in him being a casualty. So Napoleon's
Okay.
a little bit sturdy.
Okay. So I'm going to make a little note there. And I think that's that or you're the attacker and you roll a 12 are the only ways that you can get your leader killed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it didn't used to be for assault. That's been added in. That's a
Yeah.
1.5 rule change and useful. Because I think that we know that the French commanders lost a higher proportion of generals in the Napoleonic Wars than in all the other wars France has fought. They were actually out there doing work, surprisingly. Anyway, the other thing
So
is
4
when you
through
lose,
6, the 4 through 6 gets them dead, right?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All
But
right.
when you lose a casualty, you lose 2 army fatigue points, and then the
Right.
leader's the backside becomes a replacement. If the replacement loses is a casualty, then you lose another AFP. So I think it's just important to note that AFPs disappear too.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that takes care of that activation. So we go back up to the bag. Let me go ahead and grab something. And it's a Russian cube.
Nice. Okay. Well, this may not be super nice, but I am not Matt the Merciful.
You
So I am
aren't.
going to, no, people think that I am. I'm not. I'm going to put that on the center artillery reserve. Oh, no, I can't do that. That's not gonna. Matt is very merciful, and he's not going to do what he was thinking. So it's going to be okay.
I'm not quite sure what you would have been doing.
I'm playing a different game in my head, and I was going to activate my artillery, and I was going to fire, but that's not the
Mm,
way it worked because I don't
that
have the
is
red.
not the way it works. So that's one of the reasons why I opted to do this rather late in the turn attack, because the 2 fire cubes had already passed.
Yes, that's exactly right. Okay, so
So,
what I'll do, I've
so
got
those
my.
of you watching at home, don't go charging head on into artillery with your infantry. I'm going to try it next turn with cavalry.
Don't do this. I'll try it for you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Have you? I mean, this is the first time you've played this scenario.
Oh yes, it's the very first time.
Yeah. So, but with the big battle, have you done anything where are you the French or the Russians?
I'm the French,
Okay.
and I'm in the midst of a cavalry charge right now on on my far right wing where Davout is attacking. So I have
Okay.
Davout's corps coming in. I shifted another corps south. I've got 5 divisions of cavalry down there, 4 divisions of cavalry. It's a real big party.
Okay.
So
Well, cool.
I've done the first activation, and I drew a cube for the second activation of the charge because with a massive cavalry charge, you can run it through another turn, or another activation. So I'm going to do that.
Nice. So that's only if you draw the next cube and it's yours. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And you have the additional ability to draw in 2 more divisions if it's a second cube.
Okay. But if you're
So
unlucky and a French cube doesn't come up, then that's it for your grand charge.
that's it for your grand charge.
Okay. All right. So
So
you just plunk that on the 3rd division. They
and so
have a
I'm
move
actually
order.
converted it to a column and went downhill. And I'm going to convert this to a column and move this downhill. And this is going to be 2, 4, because I realized that that little point of land was probably pretty important. So,
Yes, it's the end of the line there.
okay, so that's as far as I can move because I have to pay 2 to get in there. And then we're going to move. Limber. And 1, 2. We're going to move him. So I'm going to turn on his command range and move 1. That's all I need to move, but I'll move an extra one. So now we're all comfortably in control. Okay, so that's
Cool.
it for me.
All right. That's exciting. We go back up to the bag of goodies. And we just got 2 cubes left. So a French cube. Now at this stage, I think I've only got, I don't know who that I can move, right? So I've got Saint-Hilaire's division, and then I've got another division that can attack. Okay. Well, I guess we will use it then on the 2nd division of the 7th Corps, kind of get them moving somewhere useful. So let's move that there, and that will be we just have what, 6 cubes in the bag each, or do we have?
But I think that's correct.
Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Ojiro can't move, so we will leave him there. And Hoodelay, we don't move until the end. Oh, we've got some horse guns. I love those horse guns. They're my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Those are pretty nasty.
Yeah.
They're really nasty. There are 7 French ACs, 6 Russian ACs, and 1 fire cube.
There isn't there, and only 1 fire cube?
1 fire cube.
Oh.
For this scenario, yeah.
Oh, I don't know why we played with 2 fire cubes.
Oops. It was probably there in the beginning and we scraped it all in. My bad.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll just park them there. All right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And
wait a minute. Oh, no, you're right. Sorry. This is confusing too. The players each have 7 ACs each turn. The players use 2 fire combat cubes each turn, but you put 7 in the bag and the remaining 6 of the Russians in the bag and leave 1 Russian out. So that's my fault. That's my fault because it starts with a fire and a Russian activation. So I read the wrong line in the special rules. I apologize.
It starts with a Russian activation? Oh, yeah, you're right. On the first turn it did. Okay.
Yep. Confusion reigns supreme in my household.
That's okay. We would be disappointed otherwise. All right. Let's see if that's where we want things. Yeah, that's probably okay. We can bring people up to the front if we need to. Okay. Let me turn that off. Okay. That takes care of that. Okay. We're back to the bag. I think the last one should be then.
We'll see. The last one is Russian. And it is going to go to that same 3rd division. Okay, and the 3rd division now is going to do a little bit of moving, not much. Actually, no, I'm going to go into square here, here, and I'm going to change. I want to change this one into column here to give me better defense, but I can't because I'm adjacent to one of your units and I can't change formation. So I'm going to leave it where it is, and then I'm going to leave the rest. I really wanted to get them into square so I don't have to worry about it later. And I'm going to move these batteries. 1, 2, 3. Hold on.
No worries.
I'm going to step away for 1 quick second.
Sure.
So let me put my microphone on. That's my wife calling. So
you better answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold on. So let me just turn off my mic.
All right, everybody out there in the big wide universe. We are... What game are we playing? We are doing this. So the setup, this is for Murat's cavalry charge. And each players have 7 activation each turn. Players use 2 fire token cubes each turn. Put 7 French ACs and the remaining 6 Russian ACs in and the remaining fire in the bag. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think that's where the confusion is. All right. Good to know. So Murat can automatically change the orders of somebody. Got to read up on how that works for next turn. So next turn, I think we will be activating people. It says Murat has 2 properties. He has 1 CP and can change an order of 1 cavalry division with whose leader he is stacked at the beginning of the order phase. If 2 ACs are assigned to him, he can activate up to 4 cavalry divisions and execute a mass cavalry charge. These divisions must be under an attack order, and the leaders must be within 8 hexes of Murat. Okay, so if I want to, at the start of next turn, get some cavalry out there moving around.
I am back for a moment. I have to take a tea upstairs. Marcella, the Tsarina and queen of all the Russians, has requested tea. So once that water's hot, I'll run it up to her.
There you go. Cool, cool. You got to do what you got to do. All right. So right now Murat is stacked with Grouchy. So if we wanted to try to get the French moving, that 2nd division for next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could get the bulk of them up on this part of the ridge. And then the next turn, they're 2 less. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can't quite make it to the guns.
This is the interesting part, because to make this cavalry charge a success, you really have to get your stuff positioned before you call the charge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it looks like. And then even then, I'm not sure. Oh, just the movement points, trying to get things where they need to be. So yeah, you do have to position it, and it's like a 2-turn event. All right, did you finish moving? What was
Yes,
that?
I
Was
did.
that the 3rd? You still
I'm
had
done,
one. You did have 1 artillery unit in the back
Right.
that hadn't moved yet.
I'm going to move him 1, 2, 3 there. I'm going to leave him there. That's good. That's where he's at.
Okay. Cool, cool.
Okay.
All right. And so I think that takes care of everything that's in the bag. So, yeah, both players are supposed to have 7 cubes. And for whatever reason, I only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes. So unless there's a cube I didn't pick up and move or do something with.
We're at the end of the turn, right?
Yeah.
We should reset the cubes and then count them. So I'm going to reset. There you go. So it looks
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah.
2, you pulled 1 and put it out on Murat.
Oh yes. Okay. So did it just take it away from him? Or do we just clone the cube and leave it there?
Clone the cube and leave it there.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I was curious what had happened.
Yep. Sorry about that.
So that
the reset pulls them all from every place, and it should.
Yeah.
So you want me to do that, or you got it?
No, I got it. I
Oh,
got it.
okay. Oh, I
Okay.
see it. Good.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select all the cubes, and I'm going to stuff them back in the bag. So now we're at 7, 7, and 2. So we're doing right. Then the checksum is 16. We're good. Okay, so
All right.
the pardon. Okay, so the next thing to do is we're not checking weather, but we would check it now. And then we move, we place orders, and we move commanders. So we should probably move the core commanders first, because they affect the orders.
Did you advance the clock?
I did not advance the clock. The clock is now at 12 o'clock.
Okay. Cool. All right.
This is like high noon with like with snow instead of desert. Very cool.
There we go. We just need Clint Eastwood out there, steely-eyed. And so then we said that core commanders can't move with the divisional commanders. They can only move during this movement phase.
During the
order phase.
Yeah.
So if I were to move Augereau over here, so that way he would be in a position to give this guy orders, he'd be stuck there for the rest of the turn.
Yes.
And you could surround him, provided I didn't stay there. Well, so here's my question. Say I'm here, and the unit that he's stacked with is forced to retreat. He just stays there, and the unit that he's with retreats?
Yes, because there's not really a leader capture rule here.
There isn't. So what happens with leaders?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up. So hold on. I think that they should. Where is my?
I mean, it's ridiculous to think that my leader would go there and everybody else leaves and he just stays there. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. If, obviously moving Augereau over there to try to give orders to this unit or to that division, only to have him get captured because I can't retreat him away or move away or anything like that, seems a little odd.
At the beginning of the orders phase, the French player may move their core leaders. So that's when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Core leaders will change division orders. So it happens at the beginning of the orders phase, which is now.
Right.
All right. Then do leader capture. And I think that's not actually there. Ooh. Unit may freely move into a hex that contains an enemy leader. In such cases, the leader is placed on top of the closest friendly unit, which is chosen by the owning player in case of a tie. French core leaders need to be in the same hex as the division commander. Right. So that's what we've got. That's it.
Okay. So basically, they can fly anywhere.
Yeah.
So
and they can retreat at the same rate as units they're stacked with due to failed hold or stand rolls.
Okay.
So you can retreat them, but you can't move them otherwise.
Right. So
unless they're
right. So if I move Augereau here, right, and say you've got you've got this stuff, and you decide you're just going to come and and I pull out, right? All these guys pull out, and then you just surround him, and you don't move into that hex. Can he move in the next turn, or is he trapped?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just like, because yes, if you move on top of him, then he can fly to the nearest unit. Okay.
So you can maybe be able to quarantine these guys.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. You're like, okay, I surround you, but I don't actually move into the hex that you're in, And so therefore, you can never move out. Although it doesn't seem there doesn't seem to be any restriction on movement, is there? Leaders have 12 movement points.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's it.
it doesn't say that they can't move over enemy units, I guess.
I would be surprised if you could, but I bet that's what they're actually intending. But I will talk with the editors because I've got to talk to them anyway, so I'll add that to the list.
Well, good. I'm glad that we're coming up with more problems. Yeah, because otherwise, yeah, it just gets like really gamey. You move your leader there, and then he's like stuck there, and he can't do anything. Um, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're trying to intend with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on just a second here. We may have somebody online that can help out here.
So
No,
like
no.
Murat's got this, attack value of 3, right? Because he's so good, but you can never use that unless you move him to a cavalry unit that's adjacent at the beginning of the command phase to an enemy unit.
Please, for the love of God, please do not get me started on this one. I have serious problems, and I've posted it, and I've talked to people
Yeah,
about
no,
Murat.
I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw that on
yeah,
Facebook where you had posted that, and you're like,
yeah.
okay, here he
Why,
is, the
why do you
greatest
put a
cavalry
command rating?
officer. Yeah, why bother to give him a command rating when the trying to set up a way that you'd actually use him would be you basically, a whole hour ahead of time, you get something next to an enemy, and then during this thing he moves. So kind of crazy. Okay, well
I
then
know. It's like, good luck, guys. Bye.
I'm going to move
Well,
Augereau over here then and stack him with Desjardins and
okay.
cross our fingers and hope that I can get the orders changed. So, and
Yeah, that's probably a really smart move.
well, occasionally I'm smart. Now, the problem is the retire order penalizes me with a -3. So that's the downside that I face is depending on the initiative, if I have the initiative, then I'll be able to extricate those guys. That is 1st Division.
But the retire order reduces your inother of your side by 2 as well. So
Right.
it puts you in a
Other stuff. I'm planning on having other stuff on the march. So
okay.
the idea then is to make up for that. All right. So let's go ahead. Now with the orders, with the ordered chits, is there a way to flip through them so that they change from one to
Yeah.
the next to the next? So what, you
Right
just
click.
right click and then you just go down and you pick which one it is that you want to do?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Just so.
Okay. All right. So let's see, who was he stacked with? Murat is stacked with Grouchy, 2nd Division. Okay, so he can automatically change that just by virtue of the fact that he's stacked there. Okay. All right, so we've put on a move order there. And then everybody else has got to make rolls to do whatever they want to accomplish.
Mm.
So then the Klein, I have to roll an 8 or less. And so I do. So I can change Klein's orders. And Klein is what? Is he the third division? No. 1st Division. Okay. All right.
I'm rolling initiatives now.
Yeah, because you got a lot of people you're trying to get doing stuff, going
Motivated.
places.
And it makes it good. Okay, so that's good.
All right. The 3rd Dragoons. 3rd Dragoons with Milhaud. And then the Cuirassiers. Okay, so we'll try for the Hauptpol. And he is successful. And let's go ahead and update him. All right, and then I've got the 3rd Dragoons under Milhaud. Let's see about them. Just barely did it. All right, and then that was the 1st Division needs to retire. Okay.
All right, very good. I'm all set.
All right. Cool. So then,
While you're thinking, I'm going to go deliver the tea to the Tsarina.
okay. Yeah, do that. All right, and then Bessier's is a 7. Oh, just pulled it off. Okay. So 2, 4, 8, 10, 14, 18. 18. And the Russians are at 4-8, 12, 16, 18. Right? Is that correct? So there's 6, 10, 18. All right. So what happens when we're both tied on initiative? Do.
Sorry, the palace is large.
There we go. It's either that or it's a very large cup of tea. All right. We're both tied as far as initiative goes. You've got 18 and I've got 18. So it says, in the case of a tie, the French player has the initiative.
Got it.
So, oh, and you already put the cubes away.
So pull until you get a blue and
Yeah.
put it back. Yeah.
There we go. All right. So that is that little thing. Okay. So what I want to do then is put that on Desjardins and see if we can't get everybody out of there in some semblance of order. So, 1. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Those guys are already in. So they could go 1. Oh, so they've improved by 50%. So this guy, for example, has got a movement of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He could get there. Okay, that's good. That means he can get the other side of the hill. All right, so that's what we'll do. Yeah, he's just going to get pasted, but what can you do? So he's going to pull back, and I guess you'll get then what, 3 shots? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's reaction fire, but I think it is going to be all 3 of those.
Yeah. So, but they're all done separately. So
yes,
the first one is your 4 increments times 2 is 8. So you're on the 8 chart. There's no modifiers. No, wait. Yeah, no, because you only get a modifier if it is artillery firing.
right.
Okay.
It's not.
There's no artillery in that one. So you're just on the 8 chart, no pluses, no minuses.
That's a 1.
Okay, so there's 1 loss. Okay, good. Now the next one is those guys. That is artillery. Right, so that's going to be on the 19 chart. You will have a +2 because I'm in column, and a +1 for it being heavy. So you've got a +3.
Dang it. Sorry, Eric.
So that's 10. A 10. So that's going to be, looks like 3 hits. 1, 2, and 3. And then they have to make a stand check. So there's no, well, I mean, they're leaving anyway. So what does the stand check do? I guess if they fail, then you don't get to shoot at me, or?
Well, I can't shoot at you now anyway, because it's a reaction thing. It's only the first hex. So when you leave the non-zone of control, I don't think there's a reason to even worry about it. Just keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so then you've got these guys here. So they're going to be also on the 8 table No modifiers.
No, don't even worry about it.
Okay. All right. So I move back 1, and I guess technically I should turn their orientation. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets them over there. Gets them to the other side of the hill. All right. I guess I should really put the cube on the board instead of on the leader themselves. That is the
It should
first
go on the
goal.
army board. It's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. All right.
As long as it ends up.
Yeah. All right. So now, who's next? Let's see. We will start just peeling people away. So this guy here will bug out. So we're going to turn him into column. So that's 1. And he can get 1 turn. And then that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets him there. Okay. All right. And this guy here, actually we'll go with this one here. Yeah, we'll take him out of column. Out of line. So he's in column. And turn him. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets him to the other side of the hill. All right. These chaps here are going to, they are already in column. So there's 1, 2, and we'll just keep turning them. Whoops. 3. 4, 5, 6, 7 gets him there. All right. And then we've got these guys here. So we're going to change the stacking order before we move them. So that way the bottom unit, which is stronger, does its thing. So we got to take them out of, yeah, because if we keep them in line, we'd have to turn them, and then
You want to do column.
yeah, because they're not going to make it. So we got to change. Oh, but we can't change formation because we're in an enemy zone of influence.
The first move, go back, then you can change.
Yeah, but I can't go back, right? I have to only move through my front hexes.
Yeah, you have to turn.
Yeah, so there's no, so these guys are going to, so they would, whoops, excuse me. So they would turn, right? And then, so that's, I think it costs 1 for them to turn, or maybe not.
Costs 1 for them to turn.
Yeah, because they're in
1,
line,
2, yeah.
right? So there's 1, there's 2, okay, and
That's
then,
really,
right. So now you would take your shot, and you're on the 8 chart. No pluses, no minuses. 6 on the 8 chart is a miss. Okay. So they've spent 2 movement points. Now they can come out of line and go into column. And before I do this, let me get these guns out of the way. So I will move them. I'll move them back here. And we'll just deploy them into and have them face that way. Okay, all right. So I spent 2 points. No, I spent, so it was 1, 2, 3, okay, to get there. Then it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gets those guys there. All right, and these guys are still hanging out there for whatever reason. Okay, last but not least, these poor sods are going to pull themselves back or attempt to, what's left of them. So they will do their little turn thing first, and then they're going to go here. So you'll get a shot with these guys. So the guns are worth 16, and then the infantry add in another 6. So you got 22.
In each one.
Yeah, because these are both the same. So you're on the 19 plus chart. You will have a +3 on this one and a +3 on that one. So an 8
Okay,
plus
so
3 is going to be 11.
11.
So that's 3 hits and a morale check, and then roll for the next one. A 7. That's going to be a 10. That's another 3 hits and a morale check. So that's going to eliminate the top unit entirely. So let me go put them over on the army board. There. Okay. And then this guy's, well, it doesn't matter. He's leaving anyway. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is there somebody he can stack with? Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So then we move Desjardins over here. And I guess Augereau stays there because that's the way the rules are.
Because rules.
Yeah, because rules, indeed. Okay.
The minute I add hex, he can magically teleport.
Yes, he's got his magical teleportation system. Let me. So the one thing I didn't do, I don't know if you did it or not, was do stuff with your activation or your fatigue cubes. So I hadn't actually added that up. So the fatigue cubes is the little minus, the darker minus numbers on that. So that's 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 cubes need to go off. So that goes to the common pool. All right, and then I lost a unit, so then that's going to send one to the common pool. Okay. All right. That was an interesting experiment, a costly experiment. That division is pretty much wrecked and going to have to spend the rest of the day or whatever remaining turns trying to build itself back up again.
Yes, it's not going to be fun.
No. But it is what it is. What can you do? So, okay. That was it for me. So now it is
another pull.
Yep, another pull.
Let me get the mag here and pull. And it is a green.
It's one for the bad guys.
One for the bad guys. Okay. Now where am I going to put that? Going to put it on the second division.
The second division. Okay, so that's Tolstoy. Okay.
Right.
And what are their orders? They under attack orders this turn? Yes,
Well,
attack orders, yeah.
they are under attack orders, but it's often nice not to say that because you can move one and it looks like a defend until you charge, right? So, but it
Oh,
is
so
attack orders.
when you play, you don't know what the other guy's orders are?
Nope, you do not.
Oh, interesting.
If you were playing as a side, I think we're set up as solo. If you were playing, I'm not. I'm set up as Russian, but you have access to both army cards. That means you're solo or observer. And so, if you go as a country player, you only get your own, and
Okay.
it doesn't tell you in the log in the latest version what changes you've made and so on. So it's kind of fun because then, like I say, you can psych people out, make them think you're on an attack order, line up, and you're really on defend, or only move one hex, and they don't know. So anyway, fog of war, but not happening. So we're good.
So is that so like I know that you were planning on teaching a bunch of people how to play and playing face to face. I know it didn't come with any nothing came with a game that like obscures what
No,
you have. So
there's
when I played it, we both had our army cards like sitting next to each other on the table kind of thing
that's
and so everyone
that's
can
what
see
we
what the orders are kind of stuff.
that's what we're
So,
going to do. We're going to give the same speech I just gave here. And if you're really playing it right, you would put it in a box top or something, but it's too big to fit in the box. So
okay.
there are issues, but yeah, you would keep it obscured. One of the reasons I really enjoy playing games more on Vassal is that the stacks stay neat. I can't stand messy stacks, and B, there's a lot better opportunity for fog of war. I
Yes,
have
in many
NATO
cases,
division
yeah.
commander. I have NATO division commander and SPI, and my memory of that is you have two sets of maps and you play back to back, where you play across a border
Right.
and search. City Fight was the same way. Fantastic game. But no, this is just gotta hide it.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, then you've activated Tolstoy, the little guys with the brown badges there.
Okay, so we're gonna go. We're each gonna throw away a division today. So there's one or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to, just for the sake of it all, get your guy moved back to where he wants to be. You can grab him and take him away.
I'm going to take all of them.
Well, thanks, but
uh, all right. So the nearest unit is going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to be this guy over here.
yeah,
So, okay.
2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. We're going to go 1, 2, and unnumbered. And then we're going to go 2. And that's him. And I shouldn't have moved him until later. Sorry. I
Oh,
think he
that's
was out
okay.
there. So last thing in my move is this, and there it goes. And then I'm going to take them all. So that's right. And then I'm going to clear my move markers, and I'm going to pass it over to you.
All right. Cool. Let's go back to the bag and see what we get. It's another Russian one.
Okay. Still here.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Going to put it on second division again.
All right. So now they're 1 movement point less for the infantry, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And they are going to go into column.
Okay.
And then we're going to go and then these guys.
So that cost how much to go there?
Oh, it was one to go. It was
One to change into
one to
column.
change up to
The village
up.
cost 1 and then going up the hill. Okay, so it would have cost 3. Yeah, so he can get there.
Yeah. So to go into column, go here.
Okay.
I'm going to I'm thinking for a quick second.
Oh, that's always a problem.
Yeah, well, it is for me.
That'll teach you.
Move there. These guys are already numbered, so that's fine. And I'm going to move my division there.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Speaking, this column isn't actually a column now. It is general order. So you flip it back over to the line side to indicate general order because it has only 2 firepower coming out of the obstructed hex. So
this one here. That one there. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Keeping over to you.
Is that it? Are you moving or firing or attacking or you just moved?
Yes, I'm going to attack. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm going to attack my 8 and 5 is 13 with Austrian Tolstoy against your 9.
So I get to do 1 hex point shift, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep. And then I get to shoot at you.
You got that too?
So let's do the shooting part. So I'm going to be times 2. So I will have 8 points. And let's see. French firing against infantry in column or square. So that's not a case. So there's no pluses. It doesn't look like there's any pluses at all, except a +1 for defensive fire. You're in line. You get support times 2, maximum 4. That's 8. You're right. Yeah. So it's just a +1 for defensive fire. Here we go. A 9 becomes a 10. So that's going to be a single hit. Bing. All right. So then you've got 12 and I've got 8. So that's 1 to, or 1.5 to 1.
That rounds up to a 2 to 1.
Rounds up to 2 to 1. So there's a -9 on the roll for that. Then I'm elite, so that's a +1. So
-9?
No, I said a -1. Maybe Mike misheard me. Yeah, so it's a -1 for the odds.
Right.
But a +1 because I'm elite. So we are at 0. I'm not under any of those orders. That would be a problem. I'm not being charged. I'm not in obstructed terrain. Infantry in line against infantry in column. No, none of that stuff seems to be applicable. So it's just a pure 0 at this point. Okay. All right, then we go to you. You did take a loss from the defensive fire. So there's a +1.
I'm elite.
And then you have a -1 because you're elite. So we're back to 0 again.
Right.
And then I guess in an obstructed terrain, so that adds a +2. Yep. But then your leader is a 2, so that's a 0 again. Are we back to 0?
Back to 0.
Okay. All right. So
11. And I whiffed it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah, because but that's not so bad. It just is a single increment lost.
Yes.
Right?
And I don't have to retreat.
Yeah.
So we're good. Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to clear my moved. And it's over to you.
Okay. So that division's only got one potential activation left, and if so, they can just barely creep along from the looks of it.
Barely creep along.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we can do then. Well, I guess we got to go back to the bag. Let's draw a chit. It's the French. All right. Let's see. So I've got a couple of different potential thingies I can do. I've got the cavalry I can move. I've got Bessieres I can move. So maybe I will put it on Bessieres and have them move at least. So that way they're feeling better about their life choices. Okay, everybody's in command currently. So we will move this guy up here. Is that what we want to do? Yeah, we'll move him. Actually, yeah. No. We will move this guy here and have him there. And then this guy is going to go here. And Augereau continues to hang out there. Okay. Then we'll bring the cavalry up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just have them back here, backstopping everybody. Yeah, let's see. Yep. We'll put them there. And what's Bessieres has got somebody stacked with him. And you can't stack cavalry with other cavalry.
Yep. 1 regiment per hex, period, end of story.
Okay. All right. And if we put Bessieres here, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, we can just have him face off against you. Bessieres versus Tolstoy. But let's rotate him so he's at least facing the correct direction. So we don't have people with ADHD screaming. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
The Tsarina's accursed hounds have seen a coyote, so they're going to be barking while I am thinking.
That's okay. All right. Oh.
Are you going to attack up there in the corner?
Am I going to? I can't because I'm under move orders.
Ah, very good. Oh, very good. Okay. Let's see. Let's pull another chit. Okay, so you haven't pulled yet, have you?
I have not.
A green. Well, I think I'm going to push that a little further. Going to go back and give my 3rd activation to the 2nd division.
There you go.
And now they're -2 movement points. Cavalry. So, and it cost me 2 movement points to go into a hex with you.
Correct.
In the cemetery, dang it. Do it anyway. I'm going to go here.
Okay.
We're going to go here.
So can you go there? He doesn't have enough movement points.
Oh, he's in 4. He's in line. Ah, dang it.
So
Okay,
he's
well,
only got 2 movement points, and it's an extra 2 just to go there.
to go there, plus 2
Yeah.
for entering French.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to leave him as column and let him stay there. Okay. And I smell cavalry. Okay, in that case, since I didn't do this when I rotated, but I do want to do this. I want to rotate him left and this left.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Oops, the other left. Right, okay, so that's where I want to be.
Okay.
All right, and this guy is in line, and I want to move him someplace productive. So you move 2, 1, 2. Okay, that's where I'm at. All right, so let me clear move markers, and I'm going to declare an assault here from these 2 hexes against Desiree.
Okay.
Who's
So then
now
I will, yeah, so now I will take shots at you. So these guys can fire there, and these guys can fire there. And then this guy would have to split his fire between these 2 hexes, correct?
correct.
Okay. All
But
right.
this guy also here can fire because he's next to an assaulting unit.
Yeah. So, but he can only fire out 2 because he's in
a cemetery, obstruct the terrain.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. I think it's actually changed. The curse of a screen that's one size too small.
I thought you said you had a 40 some odd inch screen.
I do, but then all my other stuff is on my piddly little laptop screen. I have a Mac Air, and it only allows you to control 1 external monitor. And my work machine allows me to control 2. So I got lots of room there, but not here.
Okay.
And we can't do it on the work machine. Okay, so we've got to do, what was I looking up?
We were looking up firing out of obstructed. So I thought it was similar to firing out of square, where you can fire out of 2 points, but it's got to go kind of around you can fire like 3 different directions or something.
You divide it by 3 and then round up. And then a maximum of 2 support point each can fire in 3 different hexes. But you don't have 3 different hexes to fire in, so that was kind of useless. Sorry about that.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so I'd have 2 points that can fire out. So I'm on the 2 chart there. It's defensive fire, so that gives me a +1. And then another +1 since you are in column. So that's going to be a +2. Okay, so we're on the 2 chart with a +2. Here we go. That's going to be an 8. That is a miss. Okay, then these guys are going to fire. They are going to be 8. They're on the 8 chart. Also the same +2. A 9 becomes an 11 on the 8 chart. That's 2 hits.
That's a bad one. And a stand check, right?
No. I would need to get
nope.
a 12, I think. Yeah. So close, but no cigar.
No cigar.
It's like, where are the guard artillery? That's what I need.
Yeah.
But the guard artillery did not set up with this.
That is not nice.
I'm not sure where they're hiding right now. Okay, and then last but not least, I got these guys here, and they're going to have I've got 8 points, and I can split my fire between the 2 of them, but I don't have to split it evenly.
All true.
Yeah. So I'll do 1 shot here on the 2 and 1 shot here on the 6 to 8 chart. So we'll do
Okay.
this one here first. We've got a +2 on the 6 chart, and that's going to be a 9. So that is a single hit on those poor sods.
So that's 3 losses off of them.
Yeah. And then
Well,
these guys, yep, that's correct. And then these guys are going to fire here. They're on the 2 chart. I just get a +1 for defensive fire, but a -2 for obstructed terrain. So it is going to be a -1 on the 2 chart. So I need to roll boxcars to hit anything. And I did not. So, okay.
All right.
All right. So that's it for defensive fire. So now we take a look at the odds.
Oh.
You've got
I'm going to take this
9.
bottom first. Yeah.
What are you doing first?
I want to take the bottom one first, this guy. Because this guy's going to attack also. Right?
Right. I thought you said that they were both attacking.
Oh, right. Yes, I did declare that. Yeah.
So you've got 9 and another 11. You've got 20. 20 to 8 is should be, yeah, it's going to be 2.5 to 1, right? So that, based on the rounding, should round up to 3 to 1, correct?
I think you're right. That is true.
Okay. So that's a -2 for the odds being 3 to 1. I'm elite, so now we're just down to a -1. I'm being hit from more than 1 hex, so we're at a -2. Units in column assaulted by unit in line. No, in line assaulted by units in column. Okay, so then there's another minus. Oh no, but one of the units is not in column. It's in.
So, yeah, I don't think you can take the
okay.
bonus.
So you got a -2 still. And then my leader is present. So he adds in 2. So we're at 0.
Right.
Okay. So then we go to you. You took 3 hits. So we're at +3. You've got an elite unit. So that's a -1. So we're at a +2. We are attacking out of obstructed, so that's another +2. So then that's going to be a +4. And then your leader subtracts 2. So that is altogether a +2. So
roll it up.
Roll your dice with a +2. A 7 + 2 is a 9. So it's going to be another loss.
There we go. That's it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so that's, yeah, so if I hadn't moved Bessieres there, then it would have been a 0 modifier, and the guard would have broken and moved back.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
Danny, that's yours.
yeah,
Danny.
and if you'd attacked with the other stack, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what you could have done. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if you'd attacked with these guys just here, right? You would have had 2 to 1. There wouldn't have been any leader. I mean, you could have moved your leader over there. You wouldn't have had the modifier for being attacking out of obstructed terrain.
No, and I would have had the column fighting a line. That's a good. That's a plus.
Yeah. So if you'd done that, you would have had a -1 for that. I'm elite, so that's a 0. That 0's out. You'd have the -1 then for column against line. And then, but you would have still taken 3 hits. So then you would have had a It
Yeah,
would have
but
been a +2 to it. You're elite, so then now it's only a +1 in my favor. And then if you had your leader there, he'd add another 2, so then it would be a -1 altogether. So sometimes sometimes it looks like just attacking with 1 hex worth of stuff
makes it better.
sometimes makes better than trying to do like get more odds, right? Sure, your odds were better here, but the -2 of the 3 to 1 was offset then by all the by the
Well,
losses that you took and then being in obstructed terrain. So I think if you're in the clear, attacking with a couple of big stacks is good, but it looks like if the terrain, if there's something there that's less than optimal, and there's a reason why I put these guys behind the village, because I've got a better fire value behind the village, right, than being in the village. And I don't need to hold the village, so I don't care about holding that hex.
right.
So
But
if you move in, yeah, you got a better fire defense, whoopee, but then you're now penalized attacking out of the village. And so for me, it was a case of like sheltering behind the village as opposed to holding it for some reason.
yep,
Yeah.
just like in the paintings. But
Yeah.
but I think that the math would have changed as well for me if I'd attacked each one separately, because the losses on the lower stack would not have complicated my attack from here to here. So that would have been a better roll than I ended up getting than this one. I should have gone here, here to here.
Right.
Here.
So if you'd done that, this one would have been a 2 to 1 with, so then you would be a -1. I'm elite, so that's 0. You get a +1 for column assaulting in a line, so we're at +1. You took 3 hits, so we're at a +2 on the die roll. You're elite, so we're at +1 on the die roll. So with this one here, it would be you just have a +1 on the die roll. With this one here, what would we be at?
We actually added that wrong. Actually, it's infantry in line assaulted by infantry in column is a -1. I think you added a +1, so it would have been even. Unless I misheard you.
Yeah, so you'd have, so it's -2, and then I'm elite, so then it's a -1. And my leader adds in, well, if we just look at all the pluses on my side, elite and the leader adds in 3, and then the 3 hits. So I've got a +6. And you've got a -1 for the odds, a -1 for column versus infantry in line, and then a -1 for being elite. So you have so actually it should be a +3 in my favor, because you don't have, I don't have a leader here. I was looking at the wrong one. So it would be a +1 in my favor still on this attack here. Yeah. Now this one here, all the pluses that so now the odds are, you've got 10 to 8, so it's 1 to 1, so there's no bonus for that.
Right.
I'm elite, so I'm +1. I'm with my leader, so that's +3.
I'm elite with the leader, so it's +3, so that cancels out.
Right. And then what gets you is then you're assaulting from the obstructed terrain, which gives me a +2.
Right.
So then this would be a +2 attack, and that would be a +1 attack.
Oh, interesting. Well fought. I think the Tsarevich has to be driven into school, so I'm going to have to call it here. If that's
No,
okay.
that's quite all right.
A good stop.
Yeah, it's a good place to stop. And yeah, it was a case of like, I've been playing some of these other games for decades, and so you know exactly what, kind of, okay, this is what I can expect. This should happen in these circumstances. But this game is still so fresh to me, trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to try to conduct an assault and do things. And so I appreciate you being patient and listening to me here as I kind of talk through it, because I know you've played this more than I have.
Well, yeah, just by a matter of a couple days. I am going to pull a cube and leave it out, and it's not going to be a Russian, so it's going to be a red. So the next cube's coming up a red. That way we know where we're at when we come back.
Oh,
I'll leave it there.
okay. It'll be a fire phase. We'll have a chance to have those big Russian guns paste everybody from a distance. So,
but you ran away. You left.
Some people did, and some people didn't. So
they stayed. Yeah.
They stuck around. Yep. Or actually these poor guys came forward. So they're going to catch some lead. But oh well.
This is the first time I've ever engaged the guard in this game. Ever.
Yeah, I mean they are they're okay. They just get that +1 for being elite on defense. I guess on the offense they get a
-2.
Is a -2. So they're better off attacking than they are defending. Defending, they're just like anybody else, any other elite unit, I guess. So,
yes.
Which is interesting. But okay, well, cool. Make sure you hit the save button, and then I'm going to try to end the live stream. Hopefully, I can do that without it all bursting into flames here, and then I'll try to figure out what's going on with the streaming software and why it has been problematic today. All right, good to catch up with you, Matt.
Absolutely good to you, and we will see you soon. And at some point, we're going to be able to swap over to